Thank you.
Makes the world go round. Snap, what a happy sound. Snap is the happiest sound I've found. But snap makes the world go round. Snap makes the world go round. Well, I say it's crackle, the crispy sound. You gotta have crackle or the clock's not wound. Snap makes the world go round. I insist that pops the sound. The best is missing as pops around. Pop makes the world go round. Pop makes the world go round. Pop makes the world go round.
And now, introducing your host with the most, Mr. Greg along with Rick Brusuelas and Dennis Michelson. Now, let's get to the show.
Welcome to Snap, Crackle, and Pop. I'm your host, one of your hosts, Mr. Greg Kellogg, also known as Crackle. Tonight's show will be a little different because Pop is stuck on the road and not able to join us, but he did get his input in, so I will be filling in as Crackle and Pop, but we all know Crackle's the sound that winds your clock anyway. But we always start off with my good friend Rick Brusuelas, who is Mr. Snap. How are you doing tonight, Rick?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm a little sad that we're popless, but I'm going to go through and give the news and focus on some of the injuries to help you set your lineups correct for the coming week.
Before you get started, because I know you got a lot to cover, I saw a post today on Twitter about all of the wide receivers that are going to be missing in Week 12. It's astounding. This is going to be a tough week for wide receivers.
It's going to be a tough week. Now, I think it's been a really tough season. I think there's been a lot of injuries. Quarterbacks, we've been seeing a lot of the teams have to dip down into their backup quarterbacks.
Let's put you back in the middle of the screen, though. There you go.
Okay. Anyway, well, let's go ahead and jump right into it then. And before I even get to the injuries, I want to, remind folks that because it's Week 12, there's 4 teams on bye this week: the Broncos, the Dolphins, the Chargers, and the Commanders. So probably a few less of the really important players are going to be out on bye, but certainly Justin Herbert, Bo Nix, Devin Achane, Ladd McConkey, Jalen Waddle, and even Oronde Gadsden II. So make sure you're not just automatically throwing those players into your lineups. And before we get to the injury part of the news, I want to also highlight one suspension that happened. Jamar Chase, the Cincinnati Bengal wide receiver, was suspended for 1 game for spitting on Pittsburgh Steelers cornerback Jalen Ramsey. Ramsey was ejected during the game, and after the game, they went ahead and suspended Chase. He's going to appeal. But if he is out for the game, T. Higgins will automatically become the wide receiver 1 for the Bengals in the Week 12 game against the New England Patriots.
And 8 targets, 6 receptions, 102 yards, and 0.6 touchdowns for Higgins in games where Chase was out. Just thought I'd throw that out there. He is a valid play.
Yeah, and that might also raise the attention to Andre Iosivas. Iosevats. I have never been able to say his name.
Iosevats, yeah.
He should be a free agent target this week if he isn't already grabbed up. So let's get into the injuries. We've got Aaron Rodgers, Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback. He injured his non-throwing left wrist. It looks like it's a fracture. He wanted to return, but they went ahead and pulled him for backup Mason Rudolph. He went 12 for 16, 127 yards and a touchdown. For those teams that are quarterback desperate, and if Rodgers doesn't play for week 12, Mason Rudolph would be a top target. Another quarterback out, Michael Penix, the Atlanta Falcons quarterback. They originally thought it was a bone bruise, but it looks like it is a partially torn ACL. He's been placed on the IR, so he's out at least 4 games. And reports are it's possibly season-ending. His replacement, former Falcon starter Kirk Cousins, he didn't look great, 6 for 14 for 48 yards. He's also way less mobile, more of a gunslinger, but he's going to push down all of the Falcon receivers. Dylan Gabriel suffered a concussion. He's quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. So that brought in fellow rookie Shedeur Sanders, and he had a really rough outing, 4 for 16, 47 yards and an interception. Also was sacked twice. If Gabriel misses week 12, Sanders will get his first start against the Raiders, and no, don't. CJ Stroud, the Houston Texans quarterback, is still out with the concussion. It was a short week, so it's likely it was unlikely he was going to play. Backup Davis Mills, who had a pretty good game, 26-41, 274 yards and a touchdown. He will start against the Buffalo Bills on Thursday night. And Stroud should be back, though, week 13. Looking at running backs, Josh Jacobs, Green Bay Packer running back, suffered an undisclosed knee injury. Another victim to the field at MetLife. Not believed to be season-ending, but looks like he's not going to be able to be back for week 12. Emmanuel Williams, who was 11 for 40 with a touchdown, is his primary backup, and he would be the #1 target on waivers this week. Jalen Warren suffered an ankle injury. Kenneth Gainwell had more receiving yards and 2 touchdowns in place of Warren, and he would take over as the lead back. Caleb Johnson probably will get a little bit more action, but Gainwell would be your top target there. Kamani Vidal, the Los Angeles Chargers running back, had a thigh injury. It's their bye week. They've already lost Najee Harris for the year, and Omarion Hampton has been out. So is it possible that Omarion Hampton might be back for week 13? Otherwise, you've got Amar Johnson and Travion Williams as the primary backups. Bashal Tutin, the Jacksonville Jaguar running back, also had an injury, a possible high ankle sprain. He looked good against the Chargers, 15 for 74 with the touchdown. If Tutin can't go, the next running back is LeQuint Allen. He was 8 for 36, and he would be the primary backup to Etienne. A big injury, Drake London, Atlanta Falcons wide receiver, had a knee injury diagnosed as a PCL sprain. Looks like he will be out not only week 12, but possibly more. He has been the top wide receiver, one of the top wide receivers for the entire league. Their next best wide receiver is Darryl Mooney, who's been disappointing. And then after that, you've got guys like Sills, Hodge, Washington, and Agnew. They all should be avoids. And of course, Kyle Pitts, their tight end, would probably become their leading receiver. Calvin Ridley, Tennessee Titans wide receiver, broke his fibula. He's on IR and possibly out for the rest of season. They are really dinged up. The Titans are really dinged up. They've got DK, who's been out with concussion. Io Manor is out with a hamstring. If Io Manor is able to play, he would be the wide receiver 1 there. If not, Van Jefferson would be the long shot to produce for your team. Mentioned Chamari DK with the concussion, Jalen Lane's out with the hip injury, Khalil Shakir's, he was excused from practice for 2 days for personal reasons. If he doesn't play, and couple that with Keon Coleman's did not play because of coach's decision, the wide receiver targeting on waivers is Tyrell Shavers, who was 4 for 90 with the touchdown. And last, I'll mention a kicker because he has been one of the top kickers in the league. Eddie Pinheiro, the San Francisco 49er kicker, has an injured hamstring and he's likely to miss the game. He's been averaging 10 fantasy points per game this season, which would put him just below Kenneth Walker and just above Tyler Algier. So I know people joke or laugh about kickers, but they do still produce. And the Washington Commanders cut Matt Gay, their kicker, after missing 2 field goals. And they signed former 49er Jake Moody. And with that, I'm going to hand it back over to Greg, and he's going to do Crackle.
Hey, Crackle is the name of the game. And I'm going to start, my best picks would be Bo Nix or Justin Herbert, but they're on bye, so I'm not allowed to use them. That's just the rules make me take somebody that's actually going to play. It's tough because the guy I'm going to choose is Daniel Jones, and he's only missed the top 12 one time this year. And I'm not sure. I just don't see a better choice out of the top 12. I thought about Jared Goff, but he's playing against the Giants in Detroit after Detroit got embarrassed last week. So I kind of think Goff, I'm looking for Detroit to score 40 points. So it's Daniel Jones for me. We all know somebody's going to fall outside of the top 12, and Jones does have to go on the road and face a pretty tough KC defense. So I can't count on bad weather, though. I went out and looked, and the weather's going to be pristine, 10-mile-an-hour winds, temperatures 50 to 60 degrees, no rain. I just got to be dependent on KC defense shutting down Pittman and Josh Downs and Indianapolis to depend on the running game here, which I'm hoping they do anyway because Jonathan Taylor's one of my running backs that I depend on. At running back, I'm going over to Ashton Genty. He's running back 17. He's facing Cleveland. Now, it's not on the road. I do like to take road games when I'm predicting busts, but Cleveland is a really, really good defense. They really are. And that offensive line, I watched that Genty game. That offensive line is terrible. I don't think I've ever seen an offensive line as bad as that one. Week 12, Cleveland Browns defense has only given up 12.1 points per game to opposing running backs. So defense travels, and I think this is just a wonderful, wonderful matchup for that. Now going over to the wide receiver, in for a pound, in for a penny, in for a pound. I'm going out on a limb here with Daniel Jones, so I'm doubling up and saying Michael Pittman is going to get shut down. Pittman's currently the wide receiver 11 in the rankings, so this is a big drop for him. It's a big chance, but I need Daniel Jones to hit because Dennis has been catching up to me. I can't have that. Colts are on the road, like I say, facing KC's defense. Weather conditions are expected to be good, but KC has a pretty good cornerback in Casey Howard, who does switch sides, so I expect him to kind of follow Pittman around, and I'm hoping he can shut Michael Pittman down. Tight end, I'm going with Juwan Johnson. Johnson's currently the 7th-ranked tight end. He's been outstanding this year. He's reached the top 12 status in 6 games, including the last 3 straight. But the Falcons are only giving up 6.2 points per game to tight ends. They're one of the top teams. I think Philadelphia is better. But other than that, Atlanta's been very strong against tight ends. It's because they have great linebackers. And I just don't see Juwan Johnson. Johnson had only 4 targets in each of his last 2 games, and those games also correspond with when Tyler Schuff was put into the starting lineup. So I don't know if it's a Schuff thing or what, but 4 targets won't get it done against the Falcons defense. My bonus pick is actually one of these cheap ones. I'm taking the 24th ranked running back, who is Mr. Kenneth Gainwell. Gainwell travels with his team to take on the Chicago Bears. And I've got to admit, the Bears have surprised me tremendously this year. I did not expect, especially after Detroit spanked them so badly at home, I just didn't expect Chicago to have anything. But Gainwell depends on receptions for his points, and the Bears have been pretty good. Now, Gainwell has had last week. He had some good days, but I think that the Steelers just aren't going to have the targets he needs against the Bears team. I think it's in Chicago. The weather's not supposed to be bad, so I'm not counting on that. I'm just counting on the Chicago defense to actually play pretty well. And Gainwell is the backup running back in Pittsburgh. I expect Jaylen Warren to play and play well. So that's it for Crackle. Now it's over to Dennis and Pop. Oh, wait. Dennis isn't here, so it's my turn. And Dennis was kind enough to provide me with his picks for this. So he's going to start with a quarterback that he feels is bound to explode this week. Lamar Jackson is going against a Jets defense that has yielded over 18 points per game to opposing quarterbacks. And Lamar hasn't had back-to-back horrific games in the last 2.5 seasons. So he likes Lamar this week. I actually do as well. He's also picking one of our favorites. I know Rick loves this kid, Woody Marks. He didn't score many points, but got the volume needed last week and should get volume again this week against a defense that's second worst against opposing running backs. So Woody Marks this week. At wide receiver, he went with A.J. Brown. Okay. Now, he told fantasy players, get him off your team, but he's still the best receiver on that team. Okay. I like Devonta Smith, but he's not A.J. Brown. And Dallas is giving up 38.6 points per game to opposing wide receivers. So there's plenty of points for both Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown. So A.J. Brown is his pick this week. At tight end, he went with George Kittle. Kittle wouldn't be eligible if it weren't for missing some games this year. And he likes to go with the low-hanging fruit, as he calls it. He went with Brock Bowers, which worked out really well for him last week. This week, he got Purdy back last week, and 12 of his last 15 games of Purdy have been over 12 PPR points. So he thinks Kittle's good for a top 12 finish this week. I agree with him. I really do. His bonus pick is a running back named Alvin Kamara. Atlanta's the 4th worst team against opposing running backs. And without Shaheed, we should see Kamara get solid volume both in the run and pass game. So that's who he likes. So that is it for Snap, Crackle, and Pop. But be sure to tune in tomorrow night for Carla's Game Changers, because yours truly is going to be one of the guests on her show with Wendy Early. Carla is experiencing her 100th show of Game Changers. So tomorrow night we're celebrating Carla. Please join in tomorrow night to the Game Changers podcast so that you can join us there. And then, of course, Thursday night, Rick and I will be back for the Thursday check down, and we're looking forward to that one as well.